Yes, Captain? Thought you'd never ask. Urban was only on Gagarin. We've done everything that we can do for Urban's case.
Net construction is a dead industry, Chief Pretorius. Those jobs aren't coming back. But Reliant Medical, Arc Mining, and Satori Mills are dedicated to...
I was just thinking that this is about what Urban saw all those years ago when he arrived. He probably stood here thinking that he was going to make things better.
Our investor visits.
We need to reopen the case. See if there's anything that was overlooked the first time. We've done some legwork remotely, but we need to do some good old-fashioned investigating now. Hopefully it will be enough to clear Urban's name. Maybe not in its current form, but I'm sure Urban painted a much different picture in his mind. I'm thinking something impressionist. Softer, only one way to find out, right? I sent that to our lawyer already. I asked her to confidentially review what we found. Yes, but listen. Nobody will stand up against the mining corporations around here. They're scared. She didn't want to lose the case. Thanks to us, now she does. Ellie Yankton. She worked on Irvin's previous case. Ellie is one of the few lawyers on this planet who's willing to take on the mining corporations in court. Right. She said she would meet us at our office. Hopefully she can tell us what we need to do in order to clear Irvin's name. Let's stick together, though. Gagarin isn't a huge town, but it's not the kind of town that I want to get...
You think the Terramorphs are...
Gagarin was the one industry city.
Well, well, well. Barrett.
Ellie! Ellie, come on.
People make promises all the time, Barrett. And most folks try to avoid Gagarin, not visit it. Anyway, I'm glad you made it out here. We have work to do, don't we? Not exactly, but similar cases. A corporation commits a crime and needs a scapegoat, so they select someone powerless to target.
The quintessential Gagarin tale.
Indeed. It's not a resort. It's a working town run by mining corporations. You don't come here unless you need to, and you don't stay unless you have to.
Or unless you're a bright-eyed, optimistic lawyer who genuinely wants to make things better for others. Right, Ellie?
You're kind, Barrett. Yes, I suppose there's that type of person as well. Yes. It was my first case as a bright-eyed, optimistic lawyer.
Well, starting your career with a defeat is rough, Ellie.
It was. But in a way, it made me more determined. Down to business. Perfect. What do you already know?
So we already know that Irvin worked for Hephaestus Mining Company years ago, and they blamed him for catastrophic economic and ecological issues here on Gagarin.
Yes. He lost his case because he didn't defend himself, and we had almost no evidence without him. He was publicly blamed for the economic woes, and his accounts were seized in compensation.
His account on Gagarin specifically. It was just the amount he was paid years ago for the job.
Right. They would have taken his...
I recall receiving a message asking him to appear in court a day after his funeral.
An unfortunate reality of interplanetary league. Well, we can bring the case to a judge here if we have new evidence or a witness.
What about the evidence we found so far?
Yes, well, it's just not enough. Best case scenario, we clear his name. Not on its own, no. In order for me to go before a judge, I'd like to have... The courts won't entertain a challenge to its ruling unless we're sure that
What was the motive from the...
We had no solid motive. Yeah, we need something major.
It's been so long.
I've thought about this a lot. The mine that Irvin worked at was shut. They probably still have documents relating to whatever. Not necessarily. To Hephaestus, it might be.
Not really. All I know is...
I don't have a couple decades to wait for you to... That's where you come in. I don't know. In theory, you could find... You'll need a passcode. Besides the Foundry records, there also... If he knew he was being framed...
I'm not much of a cat burglar, but I do have a cat suit.
That is definitely not necessary.
Dress for the job you want.
Good grief.
Fair enough. So, Ellie...
I have heard that there are terminals in the Foundry that can... And I happen to know that miners do with that information. Hopefully that's enough to work. If you'll excuse me, I have to get...
I should still have a key to Irvin's apartment. I hope it's worth our time, but I can't be sure. The Foundry District isn't too far.
You from off-world? Well, like your destination's hot and dusty, Garen's got you covered.
They probably never intended for these... Irvin's old apartment. Here, use this key. Irvin didn't live here for long, but he certainly had a lot of junk here. I had no idea. Now I get why he wanted me to look after his plants. No windows, insufficient... What about this safe? I bet it's locked by a terminal. Well, I'll be. If you ever doubted Irvin's genius, look at all this. Still chugging along 20 years later. Hold on. Is that what I think it is? Aha! Will you look at that? If we go to town hall, I bet we can get a copy of that hunting license. He lived here for a few weeks. The plant. But everything went to hell. I wouldn't have liked living. That is an extreme. I'll hold on to it for now and see if I don't think that's useful. Let's try to get into that. Is that Irvin's employment contract? Let me see. No idea where mine H363 is, but we could search for it at the Foundry database. All right, we've got some solid. Much better than liquid or... I was hoping for some old pic. Beautiful and resilient, although this self-sustaining. Evolved or altered. Maybe he made the perfect plan. In any event, I'll go through Irvin's... Oh, on that note, what do you think of Harvey? Then it's unanimous. Okay. The three of us should get back to it. You, me, and Harvey have a case to solve.
Finally starting to cool off.
You ever read about the early history of spaceflight? So political. So familiar sometimes.
thinking about going for a hike outside the canyon. Then I remembered where we are. Have a drink instead.
Not looking to chat, friend.
Some species can feel the tiniest vibrations from meters away. Glad that doesn't apply here. Coordinates look valid to me. Imagine Irvin thinking the same thing all those years ago. Well, at least we know where to keep looking. I guess we'll see what state the mine is in. If that's the case, we'll...
Supervisor is going to be mad.
Careful. This place was shuttered 20 years ago. Come and get it! This isn't for some wild alien pie recipe, is it? This looks promising. This looks like administration. Let's go find Irvin and Helge's lab stations. It was the destruction of the bacterial colonies, not the apex predators. So, they ruined the ecosystem here, and it had nothing to do with Irvin. This is it. This is what Ellie needs to see.